Hi, everyone. I have had this footage sitting on my hard drive for well over a year. A long time. Too long.
Okay.
And I figured, why not share it now? Why not dig it up and share it now? Meet Uuna, an original doll sculpt from the talented CurvyAlienBJD, an independent doll maker from Canada. I found her on Instagram. She has some really beautiful work. Her Uuna sculpt got pretty popular. There were a couple professional cast production runs, but she also sold a couple home cast kits, meaning she was casting them herself and being sold as is, flaws and all. And I kind of like these kits a lot. They're a little more hands-on and DIY, and I wanted to show you the process of going through them and finishing one. So here you can see I'm using an angled blade to trim off the flash lines, I believe they're called, left over from the seams in the molds, the silicone molds. So it's just extra bits of plastic that need to be carved off. And I do find going in with a nice brand new sharp blade that has an angle like this seemed to be the easiest tool to get those off. It is easy to overdo it, so you want to be careful. Sometimes scraping flat against the resin helps. These homecast kits came with epoxy putty filled in, which is fine if you want to paint over it, but I actually have a different method I like to use. And this is kind of why I wanted to share this footage to begin with, because I feel like more people should know about using builder gel to repair your resin dolls. So I'm carefully popping off these mods, and the nice thing is they're different materials and they pop off really clean, very satisfying. I felt kind of bad on doing this work because I'm sure this was tedious for CurvyAlien to do. However, I really prefer using the builder gel. The color match is just going to look way better. So this is the gel that I'm using. I've seen it described as IBD builder gel. It's for sculpting nails, and it's another type of UV resin. It's just a formula that's thicker and sculptable. And I'm tinting it with other resins that I had on hand. You can also tint with alcohol inks, I believe, but you have to be careful about how much you add. The nice thing about premixed colored resin is it's been formulated so that it doesn't impact the cure time. So I am not an expert on resin, but I think it's a little safer to do it this way. So here's my color match. Pro tip, if you mix on these clear takeout container lids, you can hold it up and kind of hover over whatever you're working on to match color or placement, whatever. So the clear lids are kind of useful. And here I am scooping up the builder gel and mushing it into place. So the builder gel, you can see, is kind of watered down from mixing it with other resins. That's my curing lamp. I have covered it in stickers. The gel is nice and thick. It is designed to sculpt nails, and it's designed to sand really nicely. I'm using a silicone tool to apply and sculpt the resin. Here's a little bubble, easy fixed. And of course, everything gets a full cure according to the resin and package instructions. So once it's totally cured, if it's tacky at all, you wipe it off with alcohol. And I believe the tackiness comes from the colored resins. I think they have more, I believe it's called an inhibition layer when it cures. Anyways, give it a good wipe, and then we can start sanding. And this is really important. You can wet sand and the dust won't go everywhere, because remember that dust is just tiny microplastics. Tiny microplastics. Not all sandpapers can wet sand, by the way. Make sure it says that it can wet sand. I found the ones that don't, they'll dissolve. And I had a bad experience once where sandpaper was colored red and dissolved in water and then left a red stain that was like embedded into the rough spot that I was sanding. So don't do that. It not only won't work, but it could actually impact your project. I do go over it again with some isopropyl alcohol at the very end. And the thinking behind that is not only is it a wet cloth that'll catch any of the remaining sand dust, but that a little isopropyl alcohol will like smooth out any microscopic bumps left over. I heard that once with nail polish, so I'm assuming it has a good effect on this as well. And there we go. Nice and shiny. Beautiful. While I was working, my new toy came in, and I wish I had this from the start. This is an electric dust collector for nail artists. And what it does is it basically sucks any sanding dust down into its filter, which makes for a much cleaner experience overall. And because it's for nail artists, it's nice and small. I, of course, picked out the pink one. It was pretty affordable. So I wish I used this from the start. You can see when I turn it on there, it does have a little exhaust in the back, so it started blowing my sandpaper around. It's a little loud, but it's not terrible. This is the filter, which slides in and out. If you don't have one of these, I would say just wet sand and make sure your surface is always wet. But I felt a lot better working over this. It just seemed like a more effective way to stay clean. And then what you're really supposed to use it with is one of these electric nail drills or e-drills or e-files, I've heard them called. I've actually had this one already for a while, and I really like it. I really prefer it to working with like a Dremel. A proper Dremel is a little too aggressive and too strong for these small parts. Where the nail drill is less aggressive. It's also just easier to handle. It's a small, really light tool. It has different speeds. You can see the little switch on the cord, so you can turn it up and down. And it comes with a whole bunch of little drill bits. So there's like a cone shape. There's skinnier and fatter shapes. And then there's a bunch of like sandpaper tips that you can switch out. So it's kind of awesome. But it is best used with these dust collectors to stay really clean. I do think all miniature artists should have this set, the electric file and a dust collector. It's really nice. You can see on these really delicate parts like the hand or the foot. It's just really nice for getting into those small areas. I feel like this is a good time to say that a dust collector is not a replacement for protective equipment, so you should still have your dust mask on and your safety glasses if you're filing stuff like this. Periodically, I brush off the surface and all that dust gets sucked into the filter. And finally, all the parts are filled in, fully cured, fully sanded and polished until they're smooth and they're looking like they're totally finished. Once we're at that part, we can string her up and turn her back into a doll. Uuna has a pretty standard BJD stringing configuration, if you want to call it that. If you've never done this before, you can look at other videos for stringing tutorials. I'm just kind of quickly working through this, and I'm using a piece of wire to pull the elastic all the way through. And there we are, except for her head, but most of the parts are in place, and I just wanted to pause and kind of look at everything, and I'm just really happy with the overall color match. I feel like seeing all the parts together, it looks really cohesive now. It's definitely not perfect. It's not going to look like a professional casting. I kind of like thinking of some of the marks as, you know, freckles or beauty marks, but it makes me really happy to work on these types of kits because I feel like you get to bond with the doll a little more. You get to see all the pieces and really get to know them and handle them before going into the customizing stage. And here she is on her stand. And here she is next to a fully customized mint green version of Uuna. Fun fact, she actually went viral on Instagram. She's my doll. I'm very proud of her. So yeah, there you have it. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know. Okay, bye.